Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Saturday, September 3rd. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Notre Dame game is... Checks watch. Today, 0 days. The game against Michigan in 84 days. Back on January 2nd, the previous version of this show started with a countdown of exactly 245 days until the Notre Dame game. That was Kevin Noon and I standing on the field at the Rose Bowl telling you that. And that number seemed pretty big. And now, after the longest offseason of any major North American sport, the Ohio State football season is finally, in fact, here once again. Should be a crazy day in Columbus. College game day, broadcasting from campus in the morning, tailgating, a full day of games to watch on TV, all afternoon, and the lead up to a 7:30 kickoff between the Buckeyes and Fighting Irish. I'm contractually obligated to tell you that Ohio State wants you to be in your seats early. Do not wait too long. Get in your seats early if you're going to the game. There's going to be a bunch of stuff going on before the game, but yes, plan to be in your seats by 7 o'clock, because I'm sure there's going to be crazy long lines and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, now that out of the way. I'm going to guess that, most of the folks listening to this show have been looking forward to this day, and this day in particular, for a little while now. We talked to Jackson Smith-Njigba earlier in the week, and he said he's been looking forward to this game since he was a recruit. So he may have, some of the players may have been anticipating this even longer than you have. But, someone else who has been looking forward to this day for quite a while is Tony Gerdeman. I know that because he just wrote about it in his I Know, I Think, I Wonder column at BuckeyeHuddle.com. He joins me today. Tony, thanks for being here.
Tom, thank you for having me. And if the fans think they feel like it's been a long off season, they got nothing on us.
Yeah, it is. We were at the Rose Bowl, and then there was a little mumble, voice trails off before that. But I mean, this time last year, we were really excited because, they were finally going to be full stadiums again. I mean, it seemed simultaneously like not that long ago and also about 10 years ago that we were going through the 2020 season and no fans in the stadium. And, so then last year college football was going to finally look like college football again after kind of a weird year where 2020 was like this weird thought experiment almost where it's like, well, let's find out how much of college football is really the college football and how much of the college football is all the other stuff around it. And I think what we probably learned a few lessons in 2020, but one of the lessons that I came away with certainly was all the other stuff around a college football day, the tailgating, the bands, the cheerleaders, the fans, the energy in the stadium, all that stuff makes a really big difference in what that game actually feels like and looks like on TV even.
Don't get me wrong. I loved the lack of traffic going into the game. Unbelievable. If there was just an HOV lane just for media, then you could have all the people you want. But I mean, it was like the old West type of stuff when you go into a ghost town driving to campus and being on campus back in 2020, where there's some people walking around, but everybody's home, everybody's locked down, basically sitting at home waiting for the game, and you definitely missed that. Part of the fun on getting to campus is the sights, the sounds, the smells, basically. And to not have that in 2020, it was very, very bizarre. And that's just outside the stadium. Then you get into the stadium, and it's like if all of the games were moved to the moon, and the only people that were allowed to watch it was us and then some staffers. And that's where all of the games were, at least in the Big Ten. And then, you get back to normalcy, and now we're back to as normal as we can be. And yes, I keep thinking how early do I want to get to campus as early as possible to just soak it all in. But also, if I'm there too long, that's a very, 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 a very, very long day, Tom. But I don't know that you can get there early enough just because this is a rare outing. This is something that you'll remember. It's an experience. It's a bucket list item, if you will, and I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, this is the first time Ohio State has opened the season in a top 5 versus top 5 game. They have opened against top 5 teams twice in the past, according to media notes. I am now trying to remember frantically off the top of my head. I believe it was 1978 against Penn State. That was the game that Art Schlichter started as a true freshman quarterback, and it did not go great. In the second week of the season, Ohio State scored their first points of the season. Lost that game 19-0 to Penn State. And then 1986, the Kickoff Classic, they played at number 5 Alabama and very nearly beat number 5 Alabama, and then didn't. Lost that one 16-10. This is the first time it is a top 5 versus top 5. Those are not top 5 Ohio State teams. This is a top 2 Ohio State team playing number 5 Notre Dame. I'm with you. I feel like we've talked about game day plans about 17 times this week, and like every time we talk about it, I feel like my departure time moves up like, well, all right, maybe I'll leave like 30 minutes earlier than I was previously planning. And now it's like, well, we're going to hit stop on this. I'll get it posted, and I'm probably just going to get in my car and head over to the stadium at this point, because you can't be too early. You can beat traffic though if you get there early enough. Friday, probably early enough. I think, this is, I think, maybe a little from just you and I and Kevin as well. You wrote about this a little bit on in your column. This is a little extra exciting because covering, last year it was just the college football experience on the whole was a little off last year, in 2020. Last year it was the covering college football experience was a little off at times towards the end of the season last year. And it's just, I think much like in 2020, we learned about all this stuff around a college football game and how important that really is. And, you probably didn't really need to learn that lesson, but, now you know for sure. I think we also learned last year, the being there part of covering a college football game. That's actually a pretty important part of covering a college football game.
Yeah, I think it's the difference between covering and watching. Like if you're not there to experience, like there are so many just little things you can pick up and big things that you can pick up watching it. Like I remember even the win over Clemson in 2020, when I see the Clemson coaching staff come running by with just these looks of like disbelief on their faces at what was going on in the first half against the Buckeyes, stuff like that, and getting to talk to the players and not just talking to them, but seeing the way they answer stuff and how they answer it. And even Jim Knowles this week, talking to him in the past couple of weeks and just seeing this confidence that comes from him and being in the room with these coaches and these players, the excitement level, you can feel it. You can see them interacting with each other. You see the offense interacting with the defense, and just these, the weight of camp and the weight of the season is so big, but you see these moments where everybody's just having fun and excited. The offense is excited as a defense to show everybody what this new defense can do. And then to be there in person Saturday night to watch it all, to then talk to the players, talk to the coaches afterwards. Yeah, there's no substitute for that. And it allows you to, like, this is just one game. And everything you take in, you just build from that, and you store it all in the memory banks, and you can bring it out in week 3 to some other conversation with a player that you were having. Like, Luke Whippler, we talked to you after the Notre Dame game. You were saying this. We've noticed this over the past 3 weeks. How have you grown? Things like that, where you can call back to previous conversations you've had with players and coaches that you just can't do if you're not there.
And, you also are just seeing stuff on the field, seeing stuff. You were in the press box for that Clemson game, and there's the Clemson coaches running through the press box because they, the coaches are up in the booth are running through the press box at halftime to get downstairs. When you're down on the field, that you end up hearing guys talking to each other, you end up noticing things, you get, all the minutia that people love before the game, like, hey, so-and-so has a cast on his left hand. So, what is that going to mean? That kind of stuff. All that minutia is there. But I think, maybe my favorite part of what we do is, something that I was maybe more keenly aware of in 2020 when there was no one else there. And it's like, what's the job? The job is there are, 100,000 Ohio State fans in the stadium. And there's, I don't know, what's the number of Ohio State fans? 12 million, 15 million, 20 million? You could kind of throw out any number and I kind of go, yeah, that sounds low. But, letting those people know, like, we're here to tell you what it's like, because they cannot build a 20 million seat stadium. So we are here to tell you what's actually happening. We're going to be doing that quite a bit, I think, with pre and post game coverage on later on today. And boy, it is still a little weird that the game is here already. I can't. It's simultaneously been way too long, and it's like, oh wow, it's already here. How about that? That didn't take too long. It is just being around the stadium. when we're in the stadium, you're working and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes one of the advantages to getting there a little bit early is you could take a little bit of time and just sort of soak in atmosphere outside the stadium. Do you have something that you really enjoy doing? Like, it's not necessarily an every week thing, but do you have something you enjoy doing just to sort of get a little bit of soak in the, hey, fall is here, Ohio State football season is here kind of atmosphere?
Yeah, like you and me, we're usually and Kevin too, like we're usually some of the first people there. And the first thing I always do is when I walk into the stadium, I go to the gate or wherever, like the 40 or 50, and you just stand and you look at the field and you take pictures, whatever, tweet it out, say, could you imagine being anywhere else? And just appreciating that. And it's like, this is an historic one. This is the 100th year of Ohio Stadium and everything that has happened in there. Like, I don't take any of that for granted. And one of the things I wrote in that What I Know thing is like, our job is to bring everybody along with us, no matter where we're going. And as I said, it's like, games, restaurants, truck stops, whatever. Like, we want to bring people along and allow them to experience this, because it is unique. And the way you remain unique is to give people stuff that nobody else does, and to show them things and tell them things that nobody else does. And so you get so much feedback on stuff that, like you've done with videos where, we don't get that from anybody else. Like, we don't get that kind of access, the access that you'll take them like in the press box or, down the tunnel, things like that you don't normally get to see. And that's just, we try to find ways to do that. And, just taking moments to get back to your original question, just taking moments to appreciate those things that, not everybody gets to experience, like being in an empty Ohio stadium. And so that's why, that's like the first thing I do. And then I share it with the people. And then you just, there's like on Saturday, I plan on taking a long walk around campus, and I want to be on the Oval. I want to stare down the library. It's like, there are things that I want to do. Maybe take some old walks that I used to take as a student, not all the way from 4th Street though, all the way up to campus. I'm not going to go that far, but just, be back in the olden days, I guess, if you will. Like, maybe remind myself of the 95 game that I was at.
Yeah, that's the 95 game. I was still in high school for the 95 game, but I remember watching that, and, it's amazing that this is the first time these teams have played a couple times. They've played in the Fiesta Bowl. This is the first time they're playing on campus since the 95-96 home and home that they played at Ohio Stadium in 95 and at Notre Dame Stadium in 96. And, I mean, that's a long time ago. I was 2 weeks into my college, my college time. I was watched that in the lobby of Bradley Hall on South Campus at Ohio State in 1996, and Demetrius Stanley running back the opening kickoff and all that stuff. And, I think one of my takeaways from the first Thursday night games of the season was, ABC puts up these graphics, and it's like, here's the 3 big games of Saturday, and it's Oregon and Georgia in an NFL stadium, and then whatever the third game was the Sunday night LSU Florida State game in an NFL stadium, and then it was Notre Dame at Ohio State, and it's like, man, those campus games, they have not played. They've only played twice since the 30s on these two campus sites, and then like you watch the West Virginia Pitt, the backyard brawl on Thursday night, and the crowd at Pitt going just insane. And that's an NFL stadium, but it's also that's their home stadium. So that's not like a real iconic college football venue or anything like that, but just the home crowd, the rivalry, a sort of long dormant rivalry getting renewed. It was like, man, those teams are, I don't think either of those teams is going to beat Notre Dame or Ohio State this year. But just the atmosphere around that game is just a reminder of like, man, the football's not, the quality of football is not as good as the NFL, but the football experience is so much better. It's just such an incredible product. And it's, this is a really unique, set aside the top 5 versus top 5 thing, all the other stuff. This is such an incredibly, incredibly rare and exciting game that we're going to be watching a little later on tonight.
Yeah, I'm just thinking when we've gone to Ohio State games that are in NFL stadiums, You just park in the parking lot and you go in. When you're going to any other campus, you are parked somewhere on campus and you're walking through campus and you're walking through the tailgates and you're walking through the fans and you're walking through the music and all of that stuff. And you really, and this is hours, 4 hours before kickoff, sometimes more. And you are able to get a sense of what is to come and just how intense everybody is, how excited everybody is to have Ohio State coming to their town, even though they know there's a good chance they may be losing by 5 touchdowns, but it's still a big thing because there's also the chance that this could be a 2018 Maryland game where almost, and you've got a story to tell for the rest of your life. But, when it's at Jerry World or even Lucas Oil, which is fine, you just walk right in and there's like, let's go get a sense of the fans. It's like, it's very, very different.
Let's go get a sense of the Walmart across the street from Jerry World.
Yes.
It's not quite as picturesque as, walking across the bridge over the Red Cedar River in East Lansing or walking through campus in Iowa City or one of those kind of places. Even just, parking at Pioneer High School at Ann Arbor and just walking through the, all the cars parked on the grass at a high school, but, you've got all the grills going, you've got the TVs going, you've got the fight songs going, you've got it, people bickering and laughing and all that stuff. Yeah, it doesn't quite match up. Don't have as many people going through folding tables as you do at Bills games, but, it's, I don't know.
But you can make those improvements.
Yeah, we're going to Penn State this year, so I don't know, maybe, we'll see. So yes, Tony and I, suffice to TLDR, Tony and I guess somewhat looking forward to covering a football game in person today. I'm going to guess you probably are somewhat excited in the atmosphere around that game, perhaps even the result of that game. Maybe more at stake than the fellas getting a little fresh air and exercise today. So there's going to be plenty to talk about in the lead up to that game. We were setting up for this and it was like, should we talk about the game? I was like, we've talked a lot about the game and we're going to be talking a lot about the game in the lead up to the game on our pregame show. We're going to be talking a lot about the game itself in the wrap up to the game on our postgame show. So we'll have all sorts of stuff more there. Obviously, Tony and I did Buckeye Weekly episodes all week, did a 2-hour live episode on Friday afternoon, talked a bunch about the game there, and had Ross Fulton on the morning show, and then Alex Gleitman on the morning show to talk about the recruiting angle to the game today, and just lots and lots of coverage, all at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Fantastic team of insiders. We've got our X's and O's guys, Ross Fulton and Justin Whitlatch and Devin Radcliffe. We've got Mark Givler and Alex Gleitman covering recruiting for us, Tony, Kevin, and I covering the team. Fantastic team. Really just a fun group of guys. Great community. Really fun and active and very vibrant community on the Huddle board there. Lots of good premium content there as well, including Tony's What I Know, What I Think, What I Wonder column from this week, which did include a whole bunch on the team. We just didn't talk about it here. So yes, you can find that all at BuckeyeHuddle.com. And make sure, please, if you want to hear us pregame, you want to see us postgame, got to go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Find us, Buckeye Huddle. Just search us on YouTube. I believe that's still my pinned tweet on Twitter. If you just want to follow me find me on Twitter, twitter.com/Tom Orr4. Find that there. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit that bell, get notified, because we got lots of stuff coming today. That way you can be part of the hours and hours of coverage that we have coming for you. Should be a really fun day out at the Horseshoe. Should be a really fun day at BuckeyeHuddle.com. We can't wait. So that'll do it for right now. Not even for today. That'll just do it for right now. We will talk to you guys, in a few hours.